Good afternoon. My name is Mr. Zandbergen, or Mr. Z. I will be teaching two sections of SAT practice, the sentence completion section and the passage-based questions section. If you have any questions throughout this, feel free to raise your hand, or if I'm moving too fast, raise your hand, and I will adjust the pace so we can all be on the same page. I want to give you some strategies and some skills to go over how to best take the SAT. So let's get started right away. Let's open up our pages to 390, and let's read the first question of the sentence completion section. It says, the blank of Maria Irene Forn's play, Mud, a realistic room perched on a dirt pile, challenges conventional interpretations of stage scenery. Now, a strategy to keep in mind when reading these sentence completion sections is some key words to kind of point us in the right direction. So a key word in this question is stage scenery. We're going to be talking about scenery here, the environment, the location of the play. That's what the blank is. And also notice that middle part that's separated by the dashes is also talking about the scenery of the play. A realistic room perched on a dirt pile. So the blank here is going to be talking about the location of the play based off of these key words. So what we can do is eliminate some of these options if they don't have to deal with the location or the where the play is taking place. So we have 5 options here. We have appeal, we have plot, we have mood, we have setting, and we have rehearsal. And that blank is talking about the location of the play, remember? So let's eliminate options that don't have to deal with the where the play is taking place. So appeal. Appeal is the attractiveness of the play, what the audience feels, why the audience comes to the play. Why do they come to play? Because it's appealing. Well, is that having to do with the location of the play at all? No, it really isn't. So we can eliminate appeal because it is not talking about where the play is taking place. Plot. Plot is the events that happen in a story along the way, which drive some of the major things in a play or in a book. You may have some examples that come to your mind right now. Well, the plot, if the plot is the events, that's more so the what is happening in the play, right? Plot is what is happening, not the where. And we got to keep in mind, actively reading, we remember that we need to find a word that fits the where of this play. So the plot will not work as well. Now mood. Mood is how you feel in response to the play. Does it make you feel happy or sad? Is the general atmosphere of the play happy or sad? So once again, this is not talking about the where. This is talking about kind of the atmosphere or how you feel in response to this play. So mood is feeling, and feeling is not where. Remember, a realistic room perched on a dirt pile does not have anything to do with mood. Setting. Now the setting is the location of the play. If the play takes place at a realistic room perched on a dirt pile, that is the setting. So far it's looking like the setting, because the setting means the where a play takes place. Setting is looking like the best answer so far. So let's keep this one blank. But just to make sure, let's go down to rehearsal as well. Rehearsal means to practice. If you rehearse something, you practice it. Knowing this, and knowing that we're looking for where, rehearsal does not make sense as well. So we're left with one option, and it's setting. So let's fill in the blank with setting, and let's see how it sounds. The setting of Maria Irene Forn's play, Mud, a realistic room perched on a dirt pile, challenges conventional interpretations of stage scenery. The where of Maria Irene Forn's play, Mud, challenges conventional interpretations of stage scenery. The setting of the play is a realistic room perched on a dirt pile. It's challenging the traditional conventions, and so setting is the correct answer, the justification for being that it is where the play takes place, on a room on a dirt pile. Does anyone have any questions over this one? All right, let's move on to another example of a sentence completion. by looking at number 3. So I'm going to turn to number 3. Remember, keeping an eye out for keywords and actively reading, remembering, and recalling this information. Because of the blank effects of the hot springs, tourists suffering from various ailments flock to the village's thermal pools. A couple keywords should jump out at you right away. First of which being effects, the word immediately after the blank. The blank effects. We're looking for a certain kind of effect. And the word that will fill in the blank will either have a positive or a negative connotation, right, to these effects. We also see suffering from various ailments. Suffering is a very negative word. If you suffer from something, it's a very negative thing. And various ailments. Ailments are diseases, are sicknesses, are injuries, are sorenesses. So people go to these hot springs because of the positive effects, the good effects that they have on their sicknesses, on their ailments. So the blank that we're looking to fill in here will be a positive word. So we're looking for positive words in regards to health because of these ailments that the people are suffering. So we have 5 choices. Succulent, redolent, cerebral, mandatory, and therapeutic. All right, let's start at the top and let's work our way down, defining and eliminating words that don't make sense. Succulent means sweet. The sweet effects. These hot springs have a sweet effect on people's ailments. Now, does sweet make sense? I can see how it kind of makes sense, so let's not eliminate it right away. Let's keep it up here for now. Redolent. Redolent means suggestive. And that's a word that we can eliminate almost immediately because the suggestive effects is this why people come to the hot springs? Because the effects are suggestive, they incline something? No, definitely not. So we can eliminate that one almost immediately. Cerebral. Cerebral has to do with the mind, has to do with thinking, intelligence. Remember, we're talking about physical ailments. The people flock to these, or they go to these hot springs because their physical ailments, the effect that the hot spring has on their physical ailments is a positive one. So are we talking about physical when we say cerebral? No, we're mainly talking about thinking, thought, the mind. Therefore, because of this reason, we can eliminate cerebral as well. It's not talking about the effects on the physical ailments. Mandatory means you must do this. Must. If I gave you homework and said it was mandatory, you have to go home and do that homework. So are the effects mandatory? Not necessarily. Is it mandatory for you if you were one of these tourists in the hot springs to go to the hot springs? Not necessarily. Mandatory isn't the strongest word choice here because the effects may or may not be mandatory, and you may or may not go to these hot springs, and you may or may not feel the effects of these hot springs. So mandatory can be eliminated as well. And now we get to therapeutic. Therapeutic means pertaining to health, relaxing, physically healthy. And remember, we're talking about the effects of these hot springs on our physical ailments. So therapeutic is talking about something with positive health effects. Positive health. Therefore, therapeutics looking like it's going to be the best answer. So now when we go back up to succulent, knowing that succulent means sweet, we can definitely eliminate succulent because therapeutic is a much more powerful word to choose here. So therapeutic is the answer that I'm going to choose, and it in fact is the correct answer for these reasons right here. Therapeutic means a positive health, especially in regards to the effect that it has, these hot springs, a positive therapeutic health effect on these people who are suffering from physical ailments is the reason why they flock to the hot springs. Therapeutic is the correct answer. Does anyone have any questions on this? Excellent. Let's move on to the last section, and that is the passage section. We're just going to answer number 9 on the passage section. So if everyone could turn to page 391. When you get to a passage in the SAT, what you want to do what you want to do when you get to a passage is skim through the passage initially so you have an idea of what's going on in this. If you skim through this passage, you will realize that the passage is talking about dolphins and their intelligence. I'm not going to read it out loud right now for time's sake. However, if you read through this, you will know that it's talking about dolphins and how intelligent they are. Passage 1 is the only one we're going to be focusing on. This is a dual passage in which two passages are presented that contrast each other. But just because we're paying attention to number 9, which is only in reference to passage 1, I'm only going to pay attention to passage 1 right now. Number 9 says, in lines 2 through 8, the author of passage 1 mentions activities that suggest dolphins. And now here's an example of a passage-based question. What it does is it points you directly to a section in passage 1. In particular, number 9 is pointing us to lines 2 through 8. So if we read lines 2 through 8, here's what it says. Studies show that dolphins are able to understand sign language, solve puzzles, and use objects in their environment as tools. Scientists also believe that dolphins possess a sophisticated language. Numerous instances have been recorded in which dolphins transmitted information from one individual to another. A recent experiment proved that dolphins can even recognize themselves in a mirror, something achieved by very few animals. So it gives us a couple examples here. So let's go through each of the answers and let's eliminate ones that we know we can eliminate right away. A, dolphins are unusually sensitive to their environment. Now, it talks about the environment a little bit in those 7 lines, but unusually so, not necessarily. So I'm going to keep A for the time being and not necessarily eliminate it, but I do have some hesitations with that one. Now, B. Dolphins do not generally thrive in captivity. This answer is talking particularly about captivity, where we know our passage was talking about intelligence. Therefore, B is an example that we can eliminate right off the bat, because they are talking about 2 entirely different things, the passage and the answer. C, dolphins have a unique type of intelligence. Do they have a unique type of intelligence? We are talking about intelligence now with this answer, but is it unique? No, not necessarily. It gives plenty of examples that are related to what humans experience as well. Their type of intelligence is not unique just to them. So therefore, we can eliminate letter C as well, because of that key word unique there. D, are uncommonly playful animals. Now this is talking about their playfulness once again, not their intelligence. So this D is much like B, D is much like B, in which we can eliminate it right away because the answer is talking about playfulness, whereas the passage is talking about intelligence. In E, dolphins have skills usually associated with humans. Now bells should be going off in your head right now because it gives a list of things that both humans and dolphins, skills that humans and dolphins both have. For example, solving puzzles, communicating with each other, using sign language and understanding sign language, using objects in their environment as tools. So D so far is the strongest example. Going back up to A, we can actually eliminate A because now we know that there's a stronger example. And the word unusually in A is a red flag that should send us off. It's not unusual. In fact, humans experience it as well. Therefore, we're choosing E as our answer, and E is the correct answer because of that exact reason, that the skills presented in lines 2 through 8 mirror the skills that humans have as well. Therefore, E is the correct answer. And E is going to be the answer that you want to choose as well. Does anyone have any questions on passage-based? Any questions on sentence completion? Well, if there are no questions, that'll conclude our lesson. Thank you for being participatory in this. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Have a great day. Thank you.